Good evening, I'm Jack Chris. This is Greater Jackson Business Beat. We're in Ridgeland in front of Fleet Feet Sports. We're going to talk to owner Lesley McLin about her store and about running enthusiasm all across the metro area. Come on, let's go inside. Hey, and we are back on the Greater Jackson Business Beat show at Fleet Feet Sports in Ridgeland, and here's Lesley McLin, who is the owner and operator. Or Lesley McLin. I always get that mixed up, Lesley. I don't know. Why don't we just call you Lesley the Runner or Lesley Fleet Feet?
All right. That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Correct pronunciation is?
McLin.
McLin. Okay, I'll get it right. This is live TV, and that's why we enjoy it so much. And this is one reason I think people enjoy running in Jackson is because of you and because of your store. Now, tell us a little bit of the history of Fleet Feet, Lesley. I know at one time you were at another location in Ridgeland.
Right.
You've moved here to Trace Station. Give us a little bit of the history.
So Jeff Wells originally opened up the store in 2002 over in the Promenade Shopping Center off County Line, 2,100 square feet. Opened it there.
And you worked for him?
Yeah, I
didn't
did.
you?
I started working for him about a year after he opened and worked for him all the way through until I took over in 2008.
And now, when did you move to this present location, and what's your square footage here?
We moved here about a year ago. June 23rd of last year, we opened in this location, and our square footage here is 4,200 square feet.
Quite a difference.
Huge difference.
So
yeah.
Now, most people think of running stores, I guess people who aren't runners, and many should be, think of it as just a place where you buy shoes. But you've got apparel, you've got hydration systems, you've got, I mean, give us kind of a run through of the inventory you've got here at Fleet Feet.
Well, our specialty, of course, is fitting runners, walkers, fitness enthusiasts for their shoes, whether they are training to run a marathon or they just are going to be standing on their feet all day or whatever. Shoes, socks, orthotic footbeds, and then of course that's not the only thing you need. It would be like trying to ride a bike without a helmet. You've got to have the right gear. So
Sure.
Clothing, water bottles, whether they're handheld or ones you strap around your waist, whole line of nutrition products for athletes and runners. Really the whole gamut for whatever you need.
And you know, people should not be intimidated by coming into a running store. I mean, I can, from personal experience, you know, 5 or 6 years ago, I was kind of a novice runner. And I was made to feel at home by Jeff then and you. And that's still the kind of modus operandi of your store now, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You don't have to be just a great marathon runner. You can be a walker and be welcomed at Fleet Feet.
Absolutely. We want everybody to come in, especially because the more elite runners, they already know what they need. They don't really need our help. And we want people coming in the door who want our help, who want our service that we provide. So
now, has running really increased that much? Because you know, you see on the trails here in Ridgeland just droves of people sometimes.
Yeah.
And there are so many running groups now, whereas 5 or 6 years ago, as I mentioned when I started out, you had maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Talk about the increase in the number of people who are running and what that's meant to your business.
yeah, well, it's been huge for us, and I think the state's initiative on kind of targeting that we're the fattest state in the nation image that Mississippi's had for the past few years has actually given to that as well. Has just kind of encouraged people to get out there, to start walking, running, riding bikes, getting in the gym. And then you've got your training programs. We put on a couple of training programs here for beginners. You've
Right.
got programs like Marathon Makeover, and then there's the team and training, stuff like that. And all of that stuff combined, I think, is what's just really kind of made the boom.
Now, we mentioned that you don't have to be a professional runner to come into Fleet Feet, but most of your staff members are themselves pretty good runners. I mean, they're not professionals, but they're experienced.
Yeah, our staff, they're not all necessarily runners. They're all fit, healthy people who try to live, healthy, fit lifestyles. So we have several people are pretty serious runners that work here, and then we've got people that just walk for exercise. We've got athletes like soccer players. I had an ex-Ole Miss golfer that was here
Really?
with us for a while. But the crazy thing is people will come in and they're athletes but not necessarily runners, and the first thing they say is, well, I'm not a runner. And I'm like, that's okay. But they come in and inevitably within like a month, 2 months, they're training for their first 5K or their first half marathon. So it's kind of like an infection.
And
they just get it.
Well, it's got to be pleasing for you too as a
Oh, yeah.
runner and as an owner of a store like this. Now, the other thing
Definitely.
is, in the old days, the big mega shoe stores, they'd sell you anything. And I mean, most people, like me, I was ignorant. I thought the more you paid for a shoe, the better shoe you got. And that's not necessarily true. You actually put people on, there's a treadmill over here.
Right.
You will actually measure people's gait, watch them walk and run, and determine almost scientifically what they need.
That's exactly what we do.
Tell us about that.
Well, we do the measurement. We do a measurement process, seated and standing, to determine the flexibility of the foot. We watch people walk. We examine the shape of their foot. We do a gait analysis on the treadmill and decide if they're to determine if they're overpronation, if they have overpronation or underpronation or any other abnormalities in their gait.
Which is not as serious as it sounds.
Right. It's not serious at all, but it's important to address that and make sure you have the right shoe to fit that foot. So,
what has been the most fun for you in running a store like this? I mean, we've kind of touched on some of the things, but you as a runner and coming under Jeff's tutelage and then opening this brand new store, what's been the biggest thrill for you?
The community. Absolutely the community, hands down. I mean, my goal when we moved to this location, besides just needing more space, was that it would become a hub for the fitness community. So people would come here and park out in the parking lot to go hit the trail or go out on a walk or go out on a run or whatever, and that's what it's become.
And they can, because the trail's just right out here, right out in your front door.
Right. It's 200 yards away.
Well, not today. We're in the middle of a lightning storm. They're not going to run today, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I know some that will, but.
Let me ask you this. In this economy we're going through, you would think that maybe people wouldn't spend the money on a good pair of shoes or running apparel, but has that affected your business at all?
You know, I can't say that it hasn't, but it hasn't. I can say that it hasn't hurt us. We've persevered through it. It's forced us to become really aware of inventory management and keeping costs down. But I mean, people need shoes like they need tires. You know, it's just something you got to have. So if you're going to exercise, you have to have shoes. And so they still come. And, you know, we try to, you know, work with people and everything and just make sure we get them in the right thing, never trying to oversell them or anything. And people know that. So
that's a good analogy, tires and shoes.
It's perfect.
For people who want to know, Lesley McLin at Fleet Feet Sports, when you open your exact location, phone number, how do people get in touch with you, or how do they come by and see you?
You can find out all of our information on our website, which is fleetfeetjackson.com. Our business hours are Monday through Friday, 10 to 7, and Saturdays, 10 to 5. And we are in the Trace Station Shopping Center in Ridgeland, corner of Highway 51 and Jackson Street.
You know what I loved about that? She looked right at the camera and gave a pitch. Lesley, you've got a great store. You're a good friend. You're a good friend to all runners in the city. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Lesley McLin, ladies and gentlemen, with Fleet Feet Sports in Ridgeland. You're watching Greater Jackson Business Beat. Coming up next, we go to Tougaloo College to talk with Steve Smith, who is the owner of Eye Candy Clothiers and also an entrepreneur in his own right. Stay with us.